Draymond Green. He, whenever he says something, it usually creates headlines. And I'll say this before we start. I think Draymond Green is probably one of the smartest basketball minds that I've listened to.
100%.
When he talks, I listen, especially when it comes to basketball and even important issues. Earlier in the year, he sounded off on guys getting traded and basically their mental health and how, teams treat these players. So I think he always has something really wise to say. And some people may think he said something wise here, and some people may not think so.
It was funny how he did it. He said something, and then he went
followed up with it.
He said, I'm the best in history.
You know what's the funny thing, though, is that Draymond, so what he said is that Draymond said that he is the best defender in NBA history.
Yes.
And what's funny about this is that last year he said this as well. But it didn't create traction. Yeah, in in the 2019 playoffs, I think. He said it during the playoffs.
Okay.
That he said he was the best.
Oh, so 2 years because he didn't make the playoffs like that.
Okay.
So, but he
maybe
said
because they were winning at the time they allowed it.
Yeah. I mean, he's a one-time defensive player of the year. He's a 5-time all defensive team. And I'll say this: if you're trying to compare accolades and achievements, defensive achievements, Draymond is not top 5. If you want to compare,
I think let's right here. Let's go eye test.
Of course.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to compare achievements, we're not comparing achievements because nowadays when people argue about football or basketball,
because I don't think Rudy Gobert is a top 5 defender.
They say, this guy has more this and that. I think Draymond's the best defender in NBA history.
Okay.
I think so.
No, okay.
And the reason I think so is because Draymond Green has revolutionized the game of basketball so much that you cannot have traditional big men on the court anymore.
That's because of Steph. Wait a minute. Whoa.
Draymond small ball.
Okay, but don't.
We got to give him his roses,
but give Steph his rose. Don't try to do that, though.
What you mean?
That was. Don't do that. I see what you're trying to do.
No, Steph's 3-point shot. Of course, we know about the 3-point revolution.
Right.
Are you talking about in terms of the point forward?
But no, small ball, like having a guy that's 6'6".
I'm saying, I'm making sure you.
Okay.
Like, I mean, Draymond Green is the reason why that could excel like it did. Let's be honest. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah,
let's keep it a buck.
I agree with you.
Making sure you got Steph Curry and everything.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
So I think he revolutionized the game of basketball in that way. Like Dennis Rodman, he was not that. Like he was a great defender.
He was a different type of defender. I'm gonna get to it in a minute.
I'm glad you said that.
He was a great defender, but I think when you talk about a guy who can guard 1 through 5, that's Dre. Like Dre has shown the ability to lock up a guy like Anthony Davis, one of the best power forwards in the game, and also switch on to guards, perimeter players. Does a great job on James Harden when he guards him. One of the best offensive player in NBA history.
I disagree on that part. But keep going.
So this is why I think Draymond has revolutionized the position, and when we want people want to talk about the Tony Allens. I know Tony Allen called Draymond out.
He's up there.
Tony Allen is a great perimeter defender, but he cannot guard bigs.
No,
he cannot guard bigs. Dre can guard bigs. So when you talk about a guy who can guard 1 through 5, just stick him. Dre is up there. When you talk about a guy that's the backline of the defense, calling out everybody's defensive assignments, being a great help defender, like Draymond is second to none. Especially right now in the NBA, he's the best by far.
Oh, when he said that, he's by far the best.
Yeah, watching the Golden State Warriors when they didn't have Draymond, I mean their defense, it tanked. Yeah. Like when he's on the court, they have such a great defense because he's a great help side defender and he puts everybody in place. And when you talk about defense, you have to consider all those things, not just who's the best perimeter defender and then go by that.
You made some solid
That's a great
points.
take.
No, Draymond reminds me of peak LeBron defensively. Like Miami Heat LeBron defensively. Like he's 1 through 5, he's everywhere.
Okay.
But I want to say this because it's hard to assess defense because every era was different. Before defense was just, when you talk about bigs defensively, they just had to guard bigs and they were the backbone of the defense. Now in the league, it's more versatility. So Draymond's that guy he's versatile in a sense. And then with guards, they can't guard bigs because they're just too small.
Yeah.
Now, when he said he was the best defender in the league, I agreed with him 100%. He's by far. That Rudy Gobert, it's good to win DPOY. It's good. Yeah. It's not it's good to win it.
Yeah.
But, DPOY just really attains to stats. Like, it just looks at stats. It doesn't talk, really, they don't eye test it. Eye test Draymond Green is the best defender in the league. Now, all time is where it gets tricky. There's guys like Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Ben Wallace, Tim Duncan, all these guys, and the thing that's keeping Draymond Green in the conversation is his versatility. Like Joel said, he can guard 1 through 5, but I think it's hard to. I have him in my top 5. To say 1, it's hard because when I look at defense, I look at who you locked up, and I look at the type of defenses you've anchored. So Draymond Green is up there. I have to throw Ben Wallace in my 5 because he locked up the most. Not locked up. He contained the most unstoppable force in NBA history in Shaq. You know, and he anchored those Detroit Pistons defenses that were great teams. I have to put Tim Duncan up there. He anchored the Spurs defense for decades. Kawhi Leonard has to be in that conversation. You know, Scottie Pippen. So I think overall, Joel has a point. Like when you talk about versatility, telling people where they are, his off-ball defense, I think that goes to show like Draymond is up there. But I think like perimeter defense, you have to kind of like break it down. Like, so perimeter defense, would Draymond be the best? I don't think so. I think guys like Kawhi Leonard, Scottie Pippen, GP, Tony Allen. That's I think why Tony Allen jumped in and said even MJ and Kobe, those are the guys you would put. You talk about post defense though. Now you throw Draymond up there with the Tim Duncans, the KGs, those guys like that. But I think to say he's number 1 is just hard to assess because of the generations and how different it is. Like versatility wasn't really a big thing. Like we talk about Dennis Rodman, that's probably the closest thing to Draymond back in the day, but he wasn't as versatile as Draymond because it was a different game. So now, with all that being said, I want to ask you, you said Draymond Green guards 1 through 5. He locks up guys like AD, Blake Griffin. He's done that to Blake Griffin 1,000 times. Like, he just and he guards James Harden.
Kevin Love too.
Kevin Love. No, Oh, every year, every time they played. So, but I want to ask you, bigs like Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, KG, they had to see each other. So I want you to plug Draymond in the West. When he plays Tim Duncan 4 times, KG 4 times, Chris Webber 3-4 times, Shaq 4 times, do you think he would still be as acclaimed as he is right now?
Yes, with this same roster, like bringing that, if we're
bringing
this Golden State roster to like Steph Curry.
What would you say would be his best defensive year with
2016,
KD?
2016.
Oh, so without KD. Okay, so plug in that team into that.
Okay.
We plug it into those eras where we know the game was slower paced and they have not advanced the 3-point shot like they did. I think the Warriors beat them. They like I know they're
gonna beat them. I'm just saying Draymond specifically.
They are going to beat them on defense because as great as Hakeem is, I don't see him chasing around Steph Curry around the screen.
Right.
You know, I don't see him keeping up with Draymond in pick and roll situations and doing that. You know, these guys get exposed, you know.
But now switch it. Now they have to play offense to defense. You got a 7-foot guy that can virtually do anything. And Draymond is kind of going to be out there on the island on his own. Do you trust, because with defensive guys, like you trust Kawhi on the island by himself. You trust Scottie on the island you trust Tim Duncan with any big on the island by himself. You trust Ben Wallace at all times. Do you trust Draymond to, on an island, put him with the best bigs ever? Shaq, Hakeem, guys like that, Chris Webber, Tim Duncan, KG. Like, do you trust him? Do you trust him even with the wings? You know, he switch offs. He has to guard T-Mac. He has to guard Vince Carter. He even switch offs. He has to guard Kobe. Like, do you trust him in those situations as great as you think he is?
I trust him with the wings 100%. I don't trust him with the bigs because of the weight difference. Because Shaq is 300 pounds and what is Draymond, like 240? Give or take, you know. So because of that, I don't trust them with the bigs like that because they were such a dominant force. But with the wings and guards, I trust them 100% when you're talking about that.
I agree. I'll take them with wings and guards. Bigs, like Joel said, that weight difference, you know, I'm thinking of bigs like Hakeem, Shaq, Joel Embiid. Like, those are too dominant for a Draymond to handle. But to me, honestly, I'm a Draymond fan. I think he's best in help defense. I think he's one of the best help defenders in NBA history and in the 100%. League now. So I'd rather him help off the big as opposed to, you know, be on an island with the bigs. But I don't think his and to take it back to the original question, I don't think what he said was outlandish.
Yeah, when people were, I was like,
nah. when the media really blew this up, I think it was warranted. I think it was justified. You know, it's and I love that he's talking about defense, you know, and taking pride in defense. Like, I think the Tony Allen reaction was kind of, you know, a little unnecessary, but I
liked it.
I love to see the back and forth. But to me, I think he's one of the best defenders in NBA history because of his versatility, because he can guard 1 through 5. He can switch. Like I said, he is one of the best help defenders. He is, you know, the team anchor on defense. But He's underrated, man. Draymond Green's highly underrated and underappreciated. Obviously not by the Warriors, but just by society and basketball fans. Man, he doesn't get his just due. I'll be honest.
I think.
You tried to do that earlier in the segment.
Now I think what benefits Draymond is that he's the best defender in the most explosive offensive era ever.
True.
Like in an era where guards and wings are like out here scoring a whole bunch. He can guard them. So I think that's what's always gonna put Draymond like, all right, well, he can switch off. He can guard the Kawhis. He can guard the Hardys. He can guard the KDs. That's gonna put him at the top. Whereas the guys that we had before, it was more big men ran eras. So they were like, guarding bigs and stuff. So it's like it's different. He's a different type of big. He's never gonna be like he couldn't. I would have loved to see him guard the KGs, the Tim Duncan, but he's guarding guys like AD, who's more like a big wing, guys like Blake Griffin. So it's like in his era, that's always going to benefit him in locking up the most offensive era. That's what I think is going to benefit him.
Okay,
I think him guarding AD gives him a case that he can guard KG.
Yeah, because they're kind of like the same. Yeah, they're kind of like the same. I agree with you.
But I'll say this, everybody loves to. You mentioned it. You said it perfectly. People underappreciate Draymond, and I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
There is this narrative because Draymond Green doesn't score a lot of points that he got carried by the Warriors.
I hate that speak, man.
There would have never been a Golden State Warriors dynasty without Draymond Green. I know Steph Curry was the catalyst.
I agree. Okay.
I think Klay Thompson.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Klay Thompson was not the second most important player. It was Draymond. It was Draymond and then Klay. And I love Klay, but Draymond was more important.
I'm with you.
So there will be no Golden State Warriors without Draymond Green. There would have never been any dynasty. And the same guys that are talking about how Draymond Green got carried by the Warriors are the same LeBron haters that say that are the same LeBron haters that would have said that Golden State would have won if Draymond played in Game 5.
Yeah,
these are the same guys that say, "Oh, Draymond Green is not that important," but then, if he never gets suspended in Game 5, Golden State wins the championship. LeBron doesn't have another ring.
Yeah,
so you can't have both. Draymond was super important, and when he did get suspended in Game 5, we saw that.
Yeah,
we saw that they are missing something. That's why, when they had KD, we knew that KD was going to be the guy to fit in there because we knew that they already had their guys with Dre and Klay.
Yeah.
And Dre was the most important. Like, Dre, I think, is really underappreciated. He's going to be underappreciated in the history books because he doesn't score much.
Yeah.
But when you look at his passing, his passing is the next level.
I think guys like that are always underappreciated. Him, Ben Wallace, Dennis Rodman. I think those guys always going to get underappreciated because they did the dirty work, and I think it just doesn't get appreciated at how they go in there and they do all the grind out work. And people nowadays people don't appreciate defense as much. So I think people listen. I'll be on Twitter. I'll be mad as hell when Draymond scored like 2 points, 0 points because the way he does it, he just passes up open layups.
Yeah,
but when those finals runs, Draymond wasn't no 2 point per game scorer.
No, he was putting up numbers.
And he can shoot the three at that time. So he wasn't no scrub. Like
that's 30 in Game 7.
Yeah, he wasn't no scrub. Like now he be getting me mad, but he wasn't no scrub before. So I think during the run, I agree. I thought you were going somewhere else with that, but no, I agree. Without Draymond Green, there is no Golden State dynasty. I thought you could say he's more important than Steph. I really thought that's where you were going.
No,
I was come on, bro. It's close, but come on. You know who's number one. Yeah. I agree with you, though. Draymond is more important than Klay. I definitely agree with you on that one.
Especially during those dynasty years.
Yeah, I think because when Klay, a lot of people forgot, Klay had a lot of stinkers and a lot of finals. Like, he didn't play all too well. Like, we know Klay for Game 6, but he was in a lot of stinkers, and nobody cared because he plays defense all day. So